So check this out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this review. I'm not gonna make one single reference to the MCU actors. And I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna mention Thor or Baron Zemo one time. Hello, good evening. You are looking live at a recording of another Apocalypse movie watching challenge. I am Keith Barnes. Yes, this is our show where we challenge each other to movies that each one of us has not seen. Kind of expand our film resume. I got a long list. We all do. We all have a long list of movies that we haven't seen. I was challenged to watch the movie Rush, which the 2013 film Rush, directed by Ron Howard, starring Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl as Formula One race car drivers, James Hunt and Niki Lauda. I did not know. I remember this movie when it came out. I remember a lot of people talking about it. I think it was around the same time as Hemsworth was in another Ron Howard film that was loosely based on the Moby Dick, what the story that the Moby Dick was based on. Can't remember the name of that film. I apologize. But so I remember Rush at the time. One of those movies I just missed. I don't know. Just missed it. I heard it got a lot of praise. I just never got around to seeing it. I knew that it was based on Formula One, obviously from seeing the images of it. I knew it was set at a time in the past, but I didn't know the story at all. I was not aware of James Hunt and Niki Lauda and their rivalry on the track. I don't know a whole lot about Formula One because auto racing. You know, I'm aware of guys like Lewis Hamilton. I remember the Andretti family. I know the Andretti family is big in the auto racing. Yeah, Mario Andretti is I don't know if we actually see him, but he is in the races in this film, which is set in the mid 70s. I know about Michael Schumacher. I know for a long time he's one of the highest earning sports people in the world for a long time. So that's about the extent of my Formula One knowledge. I didn't really know too much. Danica Patrick, I don't know, she a Formula One driver? I think she was. But yeah, I didn't know about the story. But like I said, I knew this movie got a lot of praise, and it was certainly well deserved. This movie was awesome, so good. It's one of those movies I finished it. I'm like, I'm so glad to have watched it. I think it was Gio that challenged me to this film. I know he had the movie watch challenge last week, so I think he watched Copland. So yeah, he challenged me to Rush. So thank you for that, Gio. But yeah, this movie's so good. I'm stunned. I'm looking it up here. No Oscar nominations. That right there automatically, because I assumed that this movie had to get some nominations. I don't remember what was happening in 2013 as far as the Oscars, but zero, no nominations for Rush. So that right there is a travesty to me because this movie was incredible. Daniel Bruhl's performance as Niki Lauda is amazing. I've watched a few interviews since watching this movie. I watched a few interviews with Niki Lauda, and not only, I mean, just the look alone, but both the drivers, Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, both look just like James Hunt and Niki Lauda. It's incredible. It's almost uncanny. They did a great job. The hair and makeup is spectacular in this film. Set design's great. Obviously, it's a Formula One movie, so you're getting some racing scenes, incredible racing scenes. All that is shot beautifully. And like I said, Daniel Bruhl's performance alone, he absolutely, if no one else in this film, he should have absolutely been nominated. I'll tell you what, anybody that has any questions about Chris Hemsworth's ability as an actor, watch this film. He's great as James Hunt. I watched a few interviews with him as well, and I'm like, I mean, it's spot on. He's not just doing an impersonation. Like he's really seen. He's just like him. He's really captured him. I found out that Hunt died a long time ago. Let me just grab that really quick. He passed away in 1993. So obviously, all you have to go on is just speaking to people and probably just watching interviews. Obviously, maybe talking to Niki Lauda as well at the time, who was alive at the time this film was made. Niki Lauda passed away in 2019. And just for the record, he says this Rush, the film, is about 80% accurate. And he was sounds like he was somewhat involved in the development of this film. So they asked him a lot of questions, obviously. So, but yeah, I thought Hemsworth is incredible performance as James Hunt, who is a British Formula One driver, a real fly by the seat of his pants, kind of a happy-go-lucky, freewheeling, just hey, I'm out here just having fun. He's really good at it. He's serious about it. He's having fun. He wants to be really good, but he's really more open, more freewheeling about it. And whereas Daniel Bruhl's character plays, like I said, Niki Lauda, who is more by the numbers. He's more methodical. He's very serious. He's like if you look at the way sports is nowadays, like baseball, he's like analytics. He's like an analytics guy. He's looking at numbers. He's looking at equations. He's looking at percentages. He's looking at the odds of this versus weighing the odds of that. He's looking at probabilities and all that stuff. That's how he races. And he's also very, very good. And they have the story is really mostly about their rivalry, which apparently, though reading about it, sounds like they were actually really good friends in real life. They actually shared a flat together in London, and they were actually pretty good friends. So this movie does kind of, from what I understand, it kind of plays up their rivalry a little bit more dramatically than it actually probably was. But hey, it works. It's awesome. I really enjoyed it. You get some great. Olivia Wilde is great as James Hunt's ex-wife, who obviously grows tired of his jet-setting playboy persona. So she leaves him at a certain point, and I was worried at the start of this movie that these two guys were just going to be a couple of jerks, that you wouldn't really root for either one. They're just going to be a couple of jerks that are racing, and I wouldn't care about either one. But you actually do very much root for both of them and both of their styles, however opposed they are. But you find yourself kind of rooting for James Hunt and thinking you kind of rooting for his approach to their job, and then but also there's some parts where you look at Daniel Bruhl as a Lauda, Niki Lauda, and like actually he's probably right too. There's a lot of times where they're both right in the way they approach it. They're just different. That's the whole thing. They're both different in the way they do it, but they're both still very effective and both very, very good. I actually watched the 1976 race. Niki Lauda crashed, and actually watched the video of it, of a crash that he had in one of the big races of the Formula One season. It was the day of the German Grand Prix. Niki Lauda thought the race was too dangerous. Thought the track was too dangerous. Wanted to cancel the race. All the other drivers, led by James Hunt, voted to continue the race because they thought that maybe he was just trying to position himself to cancel the race so that nobody else could get enough points to catch him. He was overruled. They went on with the race. He ended up in a terrible, terrible crash in this race that I actually watched. You can go to YouTube and watch the real footage of this crash, and it's pretty brutal. And he wound up with a lot of really bad burns to a lot of his body, mostly in his face and stuff, because they couldn't get him out of the car quite fast enough before his car was engulfed in flames. And it's a pretty brutal scene. And watching the real race footage on YouTube, the way they shot that, it's dead on the way they shot it. It looked just like the real race. The film version of it looked just like the real race. It was really well done. It's a brutal, brutal crash. And it shows his determination. And he was in this hospital with burns all over his body, with all kinds of gunk and stuff in his lungs. He's watching James Hunt go on to win a bunch of races in his absence and kind of take over or at least get close to his lead. And everybody's talking about him as the new best racer in the world. And probably against the wills of his doctors and his wife, gets himself back out there to race. Just what it says, 6 weeks after the accident, he decides to return and shows up. He starts for Ferrari for the Italian Grand Prix and manages to finish fourth in a spectacular spectacular scene, great scene of determination and will. And it was really cool. Um, and yeah, it's an awesome movie. There's a big race at the end, which you can imagine. I'm actually not going to spoil that. I'm going to let you, if you haven't seen it, check that out and see what happens. But it's a beautiful scene at the end. It's a really cool scene that happens, and I just really enjoyed this movie. At the end, Daniel Bruhl gives a great kind of voiceover at the end, and he talks about his friendship with James Hunt, and he says that he was, and I'm paraphrasing here, but says he was one of the very few people that I liked, and one of the even fewer that I respected. When I heard he died of a heart attack at age 45, I wasn't surprised. I was just sad, and that really that was just beautifully said. And you get the sense of these two guys, even though they looked at each other and they seem to, as far as this movie goes, they seem to get on each other's nerves very much. Just the sight of each other, they just drove each other nuts. And they definitely in this film antagonized each other a lot. But they had great respect for each other, even though their methods for racing were different. And they talk about it at the end. They have a conversation about it at the end. But they still respected each other, and they liked each other, and actually were very good friends. And I just really enjoy that. Kind of like a Magic Johnson, Larry Bird situation, where two guys who couldn't have come from more different backgrounds, couldn't have more different personalities, but once they got to know each other, and just fierce rivals on the court, but off the court, became best of friends, and just beautiful. And I think this is a great comparison to that. So, yeah, Rush was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Did pretty well at the box office. I'm surprised, like I said, it didn't get as many nominations as I would expect. But yeah, looks like it made 98 million worldwide. So a lot of people did enjoy it. It wasn't huge in the U.S., unfortunately. But yeah, man, it's directed by the great Ron Howard, like I mentioned. Great performances in this. But Natalie Dormer shows up at the beginning of this movie, which is really cool. I'm a big Natalie Dormer fan. Know her from Game of Thrones or from the Hunger Games, and so I'm a big fan of her. So yeah, supporting cast is all great. Love the racing scenes. It's a lot of action. The soundtrack is great. Love the score. Hans Zimmer does the score, and I can't recommend this movie enough. If you haven't seen it, go check out Rush. It's very, very good. So listen, that was my review of Rush. Check that out. Like I said, what we do at the end of the movie watching challenge is we challenge the next person to watch a film, and I'm going to challenge my buddy Jake Berlin I'm going to challenge him to watch the movie that I challenged Jacob Bartley to, and that is the movie In Bruges. None of my guys has watched In Bruges, so just gonna secret to you guys. I'm gonna challenge each of the guys that come up when it's my turn. I'm gonna challenge them to watch In Bruges because it's awesome. I want to see what Jake Berlin thinks of the movie In Bruges with Colin Farrell and Ray Fiennes. Check that out. See what he thinks of that. That is my review of the movie watching challenge. Check us out on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Apocalypse Now. See what we got going on there. We got to talk about a lot of cool stuff over there and stuff, what goings on in the film industry and all that other stuff. And obviously check out our channel, like, subscribe, share all our videos, tell everyone you know. Yeah, that's it. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching my review of Rush. See you next time.